Frantic, Harrison Ford. I watched that one, and obviously I was coming up with Frantic 2 afterwards, so we get multiple sequels. We get the third Blade Runner, or fourth Blade Runner, maybe, I don't know, and the second Frantic, and it's just a Harrison Ford movie about memory, Frantic 2. Harrison Ford is running around Paris asking, "Where's my wife?
Who's got my wife?
Have you seen my wife? She's missing." But the twist is, when she goes missing, when he realizes that his wife is missing, he wakes up in his hotel room, and he comes to find out that he's actually, in this world he's woken up into, the world's most notorious incel, and nobody thinks that he has a wife or has ever gotten any pussy before. So he goes, his wife's missing from the hotel room, and he's like going downstairs, goes to the concierge and asks him if he's seen his wife leave the hotel. Concierge, the French guy from Paris here, of course, he's confused, and it says that he's never seen Harrison Ford with any woman. He says, "In fact, monsieur, you are in Paris to promote a book, the title of which is I, Dr. Richard Webster, has never once had sex." That's the worst French accent I've ever done. My God. "You are here to give a symposium on this very topic. It is sold out, of course, because we here in France, we think you are an anomaly, because everyone in France has had sex before. Even the taxi driver you take to get here has gotten laid in the back of his car, in the back seat of his taxi cab. He has fucked. I have a wife, but monsieur..." "No, monsieur. You are known worldwide to be a man that has gotten the least amount of pussy on the planet. In fact, the subtitle of your book says BTW. If I am ever in Paris and I am saying that I have a wife, it is because I am trying to impress the hotel staff as some kind of big shot who's had sex before. But I'm lying, because I'm actually too scared to talk to women." You're telling me that's the entire title of my book? "Yes, monsieur."
No one will believe him.
You know, it's really a story about being thrown into a foreign landscape, a foreign city where you have been stripped of your power. He's a high-powered doctor in real life and back in America. Nobody believes him that he has a wife here, though. In fact, that disorientation that he's feeling comes from being the opposite of the wife-having guy he thinks that he is. That's his identity. He's been stripped of being a doctor. Now, they treat him like an incel. They think Harrison Ford is simply a middle-aged American who simply lost his luggage full of notes about the gynocracy and how it's prevented him from tapping some ass ever. And that's where we get the Michelle character. She comes in.
Only one person in Paris can help him.
My wife.
She's the one who has his luggage, and she picked it up accidentally at the airport. She picked up the wrong bag instead of a suitcase full of drugs, because she's a courier. We're gonna steal that plot line from the original Frantic. Dr. Webster, he has that bag, and it's actually full of ED medicine. So erectile dysfunction, chewable tablets are all over the suitcase. So that's the tension in the film, right? We have Dr. Webster, who's perceived to be an incel, and he's carrying around a suitcase that can cure any psychological problems and just purely act on a physical, instinctual level. It'll get him hard. And then Michelle, she's teamed up with him while he's trying to find his wife that he thinks exists but may or may not actually exist.
Let my wife out first.
And she's this young, beautiful femme fatale, and he's got a suitcase full of chewable erection tablets. And it's are they ever going to? The sexual tension is there, but will he along the way take a tablet and actually act on those urges? Will he perform? Or does he remain an incel and be, in his mind at least, faithful to his wife that we don't know yet if she exists. But Dr. Webster, Harrison Ford, him and Michelle are being chased by a French crime syndicate. Why not? They both want their ED medicine drug stash. They want that back, and they want to stop those two from consummating their relationship. They don't want Michelle and Dr. Webster to have sex. And that's really the tragic end of Michelle, because they never do have sex. But the crime syndicate shoots her anyway. Because as it turns out, they actually had a 3-team parlay. And part of one leg of their parlay wasn't on sports. It was a bet that Dr. Webster would remain a virgin when he leaves France, because this was big news in France. The fact that there was a virgin running around, a middle-aged man who had given into incel ideology. And they see this woman, this young, beautiful woman, as a threat to them winning their parlay. We got to bring in sports gambling. It's big. It's real hot right now. Every commercial you see on TV right now is about sports betting. And we gotta bring it into the sequel. Frantic is from the late 80s. It's a Roman Polanski film. So we got to update it for the year 2025. It turns out, here's a twist. Here's a nice twist for you. Turns out he actually does have a wife in the end. That's what we find out. She shows up at the closing of the film after Michelle's been murdered. And it turns out that Dr. Webster wasn't an incel. He was just getting cucked. The hotel staff, the government of France, local, municipal, federal, the French police, all set up this elaborate ruse. Every member of those organizations all took a turn with Dr. Webster's wife while he was out trying to find her, thinking they were all gaslighting him into thinking he was this incel best-selling author and speaker. And his wife is really pulling a Bonnie Blues situation. So they made up all this about him being the best-selling author in order to distract him from the train that was being run upon his wife. They took out media advertisements. They really created fake books. They printed them up. Everything like that. They really created the environment to throw him off, to make him seem crazy, to make it seem like his memory about who he was not real. You know, the French, they really go out of their way to sell a train that's being conducted. And Michelle, that poor girl, she's like 20 years old, 21 maybe. She's the victim of all this, really. She's the sacrificial lamb of this movie. The crime syndicate is duped by this operation too, but they're not sympathetic. They get charged with murder, and their illegal gambling on Dr. Webster's virginity gets them put away. And the police, they get to, close a murder case. They get to put the syndicate in jail, and they get to have their way with Mrs. Webster. So Dr. Webster and his wife, they leave the city and go back to their bourgeois life, because that's important in French films. You got to examine the life of the bourgeoisie. They leave together, and she leaves in a wheelchair on the plane because she literally got her back blown out by all those Frenchmen.